Hello and welcome back to Blue Tube. Today we're going to be looking ahead to our fixture against Lincoln City on Saturday at 3 o'clock. How you doing, Dad?
All right, yeah. Good to be back, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like it's been a real long time.
It feels like longer than it is. 10 days, wasn't it?
I know, the international break was a cruel one this time. Then again, we never enjoy them, do we?
So we're away at Lincoln, the LNER Stadium. Never been there, you?
No.
No, it's not a big stadium. 10,000, let's have a look, 10,130 seater. How many Blues fans are we taking? I know we sold the allocation out, didn't we?
We've spoke about this before, and I remember seeing somewhere that there was 5,000, but that's clearly not going to be the case, is it?
I wouldn't have thought so.
If it's a
to be fair,
10,000 seater.
they're doing all right, Lincoln are. They're now fifth
dogged team.
After, I think Exeter leapfrogged them in the table, didn't they?
Yeah, right.
They're fifth, but they're doing well. They've played 9, same as us, so they've got a game in hand as well. They're on 18 points with a goal difference of 7.
Yep.
So they're doing it.
Nice.
They're not the same sort of footballing style as us. They're probably more what you expect of League One.
Kick and rush, I think. I mean, if you look at
Long
their
ball
passes
game.
as well, yeah, they've got some of the lowest passes out of all the sides in the division, averaging 176 per game, from what I could tell. So, yeah, they won't be they'll be comfortable out of possession. From what you've written down here from your notes, they're a counter-attacking team. And, yeah, it seems like we might be getting a game like we had against Charlton, which is a bit of a worry.
It is, but I think we've just got to try and command our midfield. If we can just do what we do in midfield and keep possession, we've just got to lead the games now. I think, and I don't want to harp on about Charlton too much because that was a banana skin game. It's my favourite word at the moment, isn't it? Banana skin.
Favourite term.
And I say it every time. We've just got to have a bit of belief in ourselves because we should be going out and literally just running the game.
Absolutely, yeah. With the quality that we've got, we should have that confidence, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Before we move on to talking about us, we'll just get a few facts and figures out of the way for Lincoln. As you say, it's more of a kick and over-the-top long ball game for them. But there's just wanted to go through a couple of players maybe to watch out for. It seems that they've got quite a strong midfield still, even though they're playing the long ball game. You've got their highest goal scorer on 3 is a kid called Bayliss, who plays alongside their sort of top-rated player at the moment, which is McGrandles.
Right.
Yeah, don't know him. Their forwards averaging sort of 6.5 points a game, and there's 3 goals between the two sort of regular forwards. So that's McCarmer and Draper. So maybe something to look out for. They've got a good centre-back in O'Connor. He's averaging just under 8 points a game, 7.7 he's getting. So, but I think when you've got May, Stansfield, Williamson, Wright coming out.
Bayliss you mentioned, is it a Pake? O'Connor?
No,
is it a
they're
Clara?
not. They're not going to be. And if let's see.
We're being silly here. I mean, of course, you've got to respect your opposition as well. And if they've got key players, they're no rollover, Lincoln, and it's a tough place to go from what we can tell. I mean, where they are in the table, it speaks for itself. So it will be a test for us.
Again, you're absolutely right. I think we've got to start giving the respect that's due because Lincoln are no pushovers.
There's a difference between confidence and arrogance, isn't there?
Yeah. And we'll get to the predictions at the end, but this is hard to call, I think. We're on their territory. They're doing well. They're going to treat this like a cup final, aren't they?
Oh,
I would imagine they'll probably pack the place out. I would like to think with how well they've been playing. But then let's get through to what we're all here for, talking about the Blues. So obviously we're still top on 22 points. We played 9. We've got that game in hand that I want to get out of the way soon. So let's go through the doubts for the game. There's only one at the moment. Now, I read an article the other day and it was going on about, Blues got 7 players out. It's the same 7 players that have been out. Yeah, it's a bit of clickbait, basically. Yeah. Bielik is out with his ankle. It's nothing serious, but it is going to be a few weeks. Good to see that Laird's back in light training.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Really missed him. Although, have we? He's definitely a starter. But Gardner Hickman's been doing well in his position.
Yeah, it's a real tough one. Once again, I mean, you can say this about Chris Davis all over the pitch. He's got that wonderful problem to have, hasn't he? Because there's so many players who you'd think, they should be starting, but who we've got at the moment has been doing so well. Like Buchanan last year, I wouldn't have dreamed of leaving him out. I mean, I know it was a dreadful season, but he was one of the steady Eddie players who I could actually look at and go, do you know what, you've been fairly consistent. And now I just couldn't imagine him replacing Cochrane. I think he's absolutely quality.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, how brilliant is it just having a squad now where you can actually, doesn't matter who's playing really. Yeah, look, in seasons gone by, you'd be looking and you'd be like, oh God, we've got so why isn't he saying it started? And that sort of just going off on a bit of a tangent. I was watching something on the on YouTube the other week, and they were on about before Knighthead was in, and we got like the consortium from China leading. That the picking of the team was so heavily influenced. Players, managers like Cottrell were putting the sheet up and being told to take certain players out.
oh right,
Yeah, that's interesting. It's worth a look.
Well, that is quite
And that's
fascinating.
from some of the players themselves. That is
Yeah.
interesting. But now we haven't got problems like that. When you look at, and let's start with midfield. I want to talk about Iwata because what's happened this week with Iwata?
Yeah, player of the month, and also
Brilliant.
not only that. I mean, that's I actually love to see that because there's been a few times where I've been scrolling through Twitter and I've noticed the EFL Team of the Week or Team of the Month, whatever it is, and there's been so many people just like find it really humorous in questioning, well, where's this certain player for Blues because they had this incredible game or they scored these goals and they're not in there. After the Wrexham one, we didn't get anyone in there and we had an amazing performance against them, and it was just like, are we just being left out on purpose here? Not that I'm really too bothered about it. I mean, Chris Davis was also pipped to Manager of the Month by, who else is it going to be? Steve Bruce. Which interesting to a few Blues fans, I'm sure. But yeah, really happy for Iwata. He had a little knock as well, didn't he, after the Shrewsbury game? But that's
During the
no cause for concern, is it?
game. He took a knock on the ankle, and it looked like he was going off, didn't it? To be fair, but
Yeah,
he
it was
came back
hobbling a
on,
bit.
played brilliantly again. But then
Half time as a precaution.
half-time sub,
Yeah.
which allowed, I think, Keller came
Keller's
on,
had a good
and we've
game.
already discussed that. So great players coming through again. But shall we go through the squad from the back then? What you think the team might be?
Yeah, just before that though, we've got one big question to answer here in that Bielik is out, and who do we bring in for him? Because Davis, for me, Ben Davis, left-footed centre-back, which gives you a little bit more diversity in that back line, has been real steady for us. I don't think any Blues fans would be too disconcerted if he was named on the starting 11. But then with Sanderson as well,
Yeah.
some of the passing that I've seen from him, I don't
Sanderson's
think
been
any of the
stalwart.
other centre-backs can say quite the same thing. Suppose, apart from Bielik himself, who of course is out anyway, so that's redundant.
The only reason why I'd give it to Davis is it's his side, isn't it? Left side of the centre backs. Whereas I think Sanderson can play either side, but he's just coming back from injury. Whereas Davis has been there, he's been on the bench, and he's been absolute steady Eddie, hasn't he? Every game he's played in.
I do totally agree with that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Shall we take a look? What do you want to go into next? Shall we have our lineup? Do you want me to go through mine? And if you disagree,
Yeah, go through your lineup,
Yeah.
see what you'd like to come up with, and
so a big question
Go from
on the tongues of Blues fans is to do with the goalkeeping situation. Now, a few people wanted Peacock Farrell to be swapped for Allsop when he was making a few mistakes and it was seemingly costing us at the back. Now that Allsop has come between the sticks, it's once again coming up, oh, well, who do we go for? Because Allsop's been making a few mistakes as well. For me, I feel if you're going to change the goalkeeper, it's something that you have to stick to for a considerable amount of time to really give them their fair dues in between the sticks and
Yeah.
see what they're made of.
there has to be a reason to change, doesn't it? And there was a reason for this change now, wasn't there?
But I think Allsop has earned a chance, and I think that he should have at least a few more games just to really embed himself into that team and see what he's made of, to show his mettle, because he hasn't had, like you say, there hasn't been too many stark standout mistakes from him from what I can remember. There's been a few here and there, but I think Blues fans, that's more to do with the way that we play football rather than the ability of the keeper. These mistakes are going to happen. Whoever's between the sticks, if they're not used to playing this type of football, it's new to everyone, we're going to get these sorts of errors.
And the figures don't lie as well. He's keeping clean sheets.
Yeah, true, yeah, and he had that penalty save against Charlton as
And
well.
he's a blue nose.
Yeah, come on,
No
guys.
disrespect to Peacock Farrell, All sorts of blue nose.
He gives that little
He's
bit,
got a
doesn't
Brummie
he?
accent.
So I would give Allsop a little bit more time in between the sticks just to
Absolutely.
show what he's made of. So I'll stick with him in goal for now. And I also think it might disrupt the equilibrium of the team if you're swapping and changing, especially a position like a keeper, too
But how nice
radically.
is it to be able to?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, but
But you don't want that. You want the consistency. moving
exactly. You
forward.
want people to be able to
Okay.
embed themselves in the
So
starting 11.
back line then. Give us your back line.
Fullback, I mean, Ethan Laird is still out anyway, but even if he was back, I wouldn't be throwing him into the deep end like this. I'd be sticking with Taylor Gardner-Hickman. I think ever since the Warsaw game, where I think he had a pretty dodgy performance there, but most players did anyway, he's been absolutely brilliant for us. In the right centre-back position, it's got to be Clara. There's no question there. And for the left-sided centre-back, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go for Ben Davis. Calm on the ball, composed, has shown no reason why he's not capable up until this point. And you got to remember as well, Dad, he's just had to slot in where and when. He's not really had the time to embed himself and develop partnerships with any of the other centre halves. And whenever he's been called upon, he's done the job for us. So I'll go for Ben Davis there. You with me so far? You agree?
Absolutely. Don't
Brilliant.
disagree with any of that.
And you know I'm going to go for his left back, don't you?
Oh, let's think now. Cochrane.
Of course. I mean, it's not going to be anyone else, is it? He's been absolutely solid for us. He's got the most amount of minutes out of anyone in the team. I don't think it could be anyone else. Now, with Paik, it's an interesting one because he's just come from the other side of the world. Now, he hasn't played much. I think he played literally a minute or so in Jordan. And then the other...
This is for Korea, yeah?
Yeah, for Korea. Forgive me, I can't quite remember who the other team was. But
No,
he
I
didn't
can't
play
actually.
many minutes, but he
Yeah.
travelled 30 plus hours via a plane.
They must have some decent midfielders, mustn't they, if he's not started,
Well,
to be
yeah,
fair.
absolutely, yeah. But it's not something that I'm going to grumble about because it means that he's fit for us. But he has still travelled a lot, so that would be a consideration I'd have.
Would that mean you wouldn't start him, or you would start him but consider like replacing him second half?
No, what I'll do, I'd start him on with Iwata, but I'd bring Leonard on around the hour mark.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a great choice, isn't it?
that's something I'd consider doing anyway. We've got to remember, guys, on the bench we've got an absolutely fantastic box-to-box midfielder in Mark Leonard. You know, we've said it before.
Northampton's player of the season
and
last year.
he's shown why. Absolutely full of energy, and he's a real impact player. So that would certainly be something that I'd consider going into the second half of the game. So yeah, Iwata and Paik holding midfield, and then the three attacking midfielders. I think I'd go for Scott Wright on the right hand side simply because of how well he did against Shrewsbury. You don't want to stop a player when they've got that sort of momentum. Scoring 2 goals and the way that he played, he got 1 assist as well, I believe. I wouldn't want to disrupt that and put an end to that by putting in an Anderson or any other player. So Scott Wright wins it for me. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky now because I've put Scott Wright there. I know that I could put Stansfield on the left, but I've already got someone that I want to put on the left. So I'm going to make a little bit of a potentially unpopular call here, and I'm going to put Williamson on the bench. This is nothing to do with, I know, I feel bad about it already. But this is nothing to do with the quality of Williamson, but I just cannot leave Stansfield out of the side. And I feel like he plays much better off of a 9 rather than in the 9 position. So I put Stansfield there playing the 10 and give him that position to free roam. And going on the left-hand side, now another player from Shrewsbury that I just want to see how they do. And the only reason why I'm leaving this one player out is because I feel like they've always got an opportunity to take a player on them. They don't quite take it, and they always try and cut inside and have a shot. And the player there is Hansen. I feel like there's so many opportunities where you need to see him drive at the opponent more and take a man on. And he doesn't, and he seems to cut back and play the ball back. And that can be quite frustrating to watch. Someone who seems to be the polar opposite of that style of play is Yokoyama. Seeing the way that they played against Shrewsbury and in games prior, and it's clear that they've got a point to prove, I think that he could be a real asset for us going forward. He's still getting very much used to the ways of the land in Birmingham, so it'd be interesting to see how he fares, and I'd like to start him. And then up front, who else is it going to be but Alfie May? Took about 10 minutes to go through that there, but you get it.
I wouldn't disagree with what you're saying because our squad is so interchangeable. I mean, you could start with Yokoyama or bring him on. I thought Hansen played better coming on.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting forward a bit more that we touched upon against Shrewsbury. Could I leave Williamson out?
I know,
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, because that guy, he's starting to turn it on.
Yeah, I'm really. If I could go back and change something about what I've just said, I really
How
am
do
on the
you
fence
manage
with
the
that.
team? I'd love to be Chris Davies at the moment. Well, I'd love to be Chris Davies anyway.
Yeah, his passing
But I
ability,
wouldn't want to have to make
Williamson.
those choices because it's
No,
great problems to have, and we hear
yeah,
that
it
said a
really
lot, don't we,
is.
with the
Yeah.
big teams. Here we are in League One, and we're having problems picking your starting 11.
Yeah, it's either I'll take Scott Wright out and put Jay Stansfield in that position, and then I'll have Williamson playing that 10 role instead.
It still sounds fantastic, doesn't it?
Well, this is it, yeah. But there you go. You guys can discuss if you'd like to. We'd really appreciate hearing from you, actually. If you guys disagree or do
Yeah.
agree with our starting
Yeah,
lineup,
put
and
your
let us
put
know.
your starting 11 on. Let's focus on the predictions.
Wow, that was a good segue. See how he did that? He's getting good at this game, you know. As we spoke about with the goalkeeper, we're still very unsure about that. Not to say that it's down to Allsop. I still think it's a problem with the unit that we've got at the back. There's no individual who I'd point out and go, they're costing us. It's just, I think it's just the way that we're playing our football. It costs us goals, and until we get better at it, it's going to keep happening. So we've just got to buck up and bear it for now. So I think we'll concede a goal in this game, but I think we'll score 3-1 Blues.
Okay. For similar reasons, I do think with how they play, they're going to be trying to draw us forward and then play the long ball game. And although we have got some fantastic defenders, and I love the goalkeepers as well, there's goals against with Blues at the moment, and it is down to the style of football.
And Lincoln
that we
are a
play.
good team, let's not forget.
They take the chances.
Yep.
But I still think that we'll score a few as well. But I think it'll be 2-1.
2-1.
I'm going 2-1 Blues.
Well, guys, let us know your predictions and what you think about the game. Just let us know your comments in general. We've been doing this for only a short time now, but the engagement from you guys has been absolutely brilliant. We've really enjoyed interacting with you, and we really appreciate you getting involved. So if you want to comment any of your thoughts, we'll gladly welcome them just down below there. And leave a like on the video and a subscribe and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, we'll see you on Saturday when we play Lincoln. Take care.